Okay, so the third uh, financial measures of activity is the Kaizen standards. Okay, so Kaizen costing is concerned with reducing costs also. This is by doing or identifying small continuous improvements for the existing products and processes. So again, the goal here is to minimize the cost or to reduce the cost. So in operational terms, this will translate into reducing also or eliminating non-value adding costs or activities. So controlling the cost reduction process is accomplished through repetitive use of two major subcycles under Kaizen. So number one is, of course, Kaizen or continuous improvement cycle and the maintenance cycle. So when we say Kaizen subcycle, so this is defined by doing plan, do, check, and act sequence. Okay, so under the Kaizen standards, uh, it reflects the planned improvement for the upcoming period. So it must be attainable. This is the plan stage. The second is do, meaning to say action should be taken to implement those which are planned for continuous improvement. So the third is to check. So here the actual results or the costs are compared with the standard to provide measurement of the level of improvement that was already attained. Okay, and setting this new level as a minimum standard for the future performance. Okay, and simultaneously initiate the maintenance cycle and the search for additional improvement opportunities. This is the act stage of our sequence. For the maintenance cycle, this one follows the traditional establish, do, check, and act sequence. So under this standard, um, here we will set a standard based on the prior improvement. So that is the establish part. So the next is action should be taken also. So that is the do. And the results check to ensure the performance conform with this new level is the check part of the sequence. And finally, if not, if those do not conform with the new level, then corrective actions should be taken to restore the performance. So that is the act uh, part or stage of the sequence. Okay, so of course, an important tool in the process of using Kaizen for workplace or organization and improvement. Okay, this one is for the workplace organization. Okay, to improve uh, the workplace. So here we refer to it as the Kaizen 5S analysis. Okay, so 5S stands for sort, set, in order, sweep, standardize, and sustain. For the first S, sorting, so this means we eliminate all unnecessary activities and resources. So, mean to say sorting will help us to determine if that activity or that part of the organization is necessary or not. So you have to identify them where they belong. For those which are unnecessary, so we can scrap them off. So sorting step is the source of planned improvements. Okay, so the next S is setting in order, means that the resources needed uh, for carrying out the planned work activities are located so that they are easily accessible and avoid unnecessary movement. So in this case, all those activities or resources which are um, necessary and mostly used should be placed um, in uh, somewhere which can be easily located and accessed. Okay, and those which are not necessary and not often used can be set aside, okay, and stored, okay, to provide space for other necessary activities. So the governing principle is a place for everything in its place. So the next S is sweep or straighten. So this means to keep the work area clean and organized. Okay, so that's just it, sweeping. And the next S is standardizing. This is the locking in of the best practices. So after identifying those best practices, so you should uh, retain those or improve those. Okay, and the last is sustaining. This means that the new way of uh, operating must be maintained. Avoid any regression to old practices. So sustain the new way of improved operations. Okay, so those are for the role of Kaizen standard on, under the financial measures of activity.